never dance again.
I bet you'd catch me.
No, catching is dancing.
Man, Butch Hartman has really gone insane, hasn't he? So, I am not the biggest fan of Fairly Oddparents. Sure, I grew up watching some of it when I was a lot younger, but it wasn't my first choice. That was Power Rangers. Yes, I'm a dork. If you're not familiar with the series, a young kid named Timmy Turner doesn't have the ideal life, more so because he has an evil babysitter, Vicky, who makes his life horrible. So he gets fairy godparents who grant him any wish that he desires. Sometimes the wishes would backfire, and Timmy would learn a lesson. It's a fun concept that has the potential for a lot of funny jokes and even some heartwarming moments, but like I said, it wasn't my first choice to watch. Even more so when the seasonal rot of the show began to set in. Sure, Poof, the baby of Cosmo and Wanda, wasn't a bad addition, but then you had the dog and then the girl sharing Cosmo and Wanda. The show had lost its charm. One of my friends told me that the show's peak was Channel Chasers, and upon thinking about it, yeah, I agree, that was pretty much the height of it. Everything after that started to go downhill. Now, you may be wondering why I'm bringing this up. Well, my fans did it again. They paid me to watch, and I can't believe I'm doing this. The Fairly Oddparents, Fairly Odder.
What could possibly go wrong?
Why do I torment myself like this? Oh yeah, I like money and I'm greedy as all hell. In any case, it's a live-action continuation of the original cartoon show. Oh boy, I love it when there's a live-action adaptation of animated shows.
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
Now, that isn't instantly a death sentence for a property that was animated or was a game. Hell, I'll admit, I kinda have a guilty pleasure for the Yakuza live-action movie. You can watch the whole thing on YouTube if you look, by the way. Like, I know in the past I've been harsh to live-action adaptations of animated shows, and for good reason if you ask me, but I like to think that I can be open-minded about this sort of—
Timmy is like super buff and handsome.
That doesn't look like you at all!
What? That is exactly how I look.
Not in a million years, sport!
Oh dear God, someone kill me now, please. Well, thankfully I just had to review the first episode. $250 is enough for that. I mean, if you guys want me to review more, 250 extras per episode wouldn't be too hard.
Perhaps we could work out a...
No.
Son, we need to have a word.
Go to the same parties?
Colin, you really shouldn't be making those deals. My audience loves watching me suffer. Alright, so, what's the premise for this show? Timmy Turner, after being accepted into Princeton College, decides he doesn't need his fairy godparents anymore. So he decides to give Cosmo Wanda away to his cousin Viv and his new cousin Troy. Or is it Roy? I don't know, I wasn't really paying attention to the names because this is garbage. Anyway, his cousin Viv is moving into Dimsdale.
Oh God, I'm a mess!
Of course you are. I asked, are you ready to go in? You screamed no, and then you jumped in the bushes.
Jeez! You don't think there's one of those doorbell cameras, do you?
Well, if they do, that video will be hilarious.
And what the hell did I just watch? Okay, so aside from this probably being one of the stupidest reasons to change the premise of a show, it kinda spits on Timmy Turner's character. You know, the kid who had a huge bond with Cosmo and Wanda, actively loved them and would do whatever he could to protect them, and like, I get what the show's trying to do, that Timmy's a college man now, and that college men want to strike out on their own, but what they did here was really dumb. The show treats Cosmo and Wanda like they're hand-me-down socks. Even worse is that apparently Timmy did this without even talking to his godparents. Like, I know Timmy could be a jerk in the original show, but not to this extent, like, holy hell! From what I understand, things got worse in later seasons, and I chalked it up to Butch Hartman slowly becoming more and more insane, but this is on a whole new level. Not that that matters, because looking at IMDb, he only shows up in the first episode as a character. Well, that's a good sign when the original main character that you have show up in the first episode does not appear in the show again! Not that I don't mind, because frankly that's one less annoying character for me to deal with. I understand that Timmy's trying to do a nice thing for his cousin, as well as basically make sure he's written out of the show so we can have a wacky new lead take the reins, but at that point, why not just have new fairy godparents? Or why not just have Timmy just basically have grown out from having his godparents? Then just have Cosmo and Wanda be reassigned. If you're so willing to rip the roots out of the show, taking away the animation, removing the lead character, Why not just start fresh all over? Because who would this be for? Well, I suppose the youngsters who've never seen the show before, because it sure ain't the fans of it. I understand wanting to appeal to a new audience, especially a younger audience, but this is kind of the issue I have with a lot of media that has been rebooted or has been going on for years, and that's to basically kick the teeth in of the older demographics that made your series popular in the first place. But that's not even the biggest problem of this show. You wanna know what the biggest problem is? The comedy. Little known fact about me, if a reboot or continuation changes things like this, I'm far more willing to look them over, if the comedy or writing is good. After all, these are just complaints that I and other fans of shows can have, and I can admit that sometimes they can be surface level, so long as the rest of the product is good and can make up for these shortcomings.
Too bad that isn't the case here!
Ow! Enough of this nonsense! I have spoken!
You know, one of the things I used to hate growing up was the laugh track from shows. Yes, boys and girls, I come from the time where live action shows like this were given these terrible things. I had long thought these things had gone the way of the dodo bird, or went the route of the late night talk show starring some talentless hack. And you wanna know why? It's because laugh tracks are an insult to the audience. It's an insult to me, it's an insult to you, it's an insult to comedy. Because it's basically telling me when I should laugh, that I should find this funny, that these jokes are good. Take, for example, this scene.
Thanks for narrating my look back montage, majestic voiceover fairy.
No problem, Timmy.
And thanks for drawing me all buff, cool animator fairy. De nada, amigo.
How is that funny? Am I supposed to laugh at the accent? This is like jingling car keys in my face and expecting me to laugh. Cause no. These laugh tracks have the opposite effect. Instead of any jokes that are actually being funny, it makes it so I instantly think that they aren't. Not that I would really find these jokes to be funny either, mainly because they make the jokes super predictable.
But I'm pretty sure he was playing Zombie Unicorn Attack when I asked him.
I'm busy playing Zombie Unicorn Attack!
She's not a mess, she just doesn't like a lot of attention. Because she's a mess? She is not a mess!
Oh God, I'm a mess!
Do you expect me to apologize for reconnecting with my high school sweetheart last week, marrying her on a whim, quitting my job, selling her house in Oldsburg, and moving to Dimsdale to live with them? Because now that I say it out loud, I realize that was nuts. So I will. I'm sorry.
By the way, all that was fucking funny, alright?
Like, there's potential for the jokes, but aside from the overused laugh track, the jokes are just rushed. There's supposed to be a balance of timing that's necessary for jokes to work, and while I believe that there aren't rules to jokes, there's definitely chemistry that can be used to certainly tighten up and improve your comedy. Comedic timing is the use of pacing and rhythm to heighten the comedic effect of a joke. Timing is essentially an element of humor because the pace at which you tell a joke can drastically increase its impact or even change its meaning. It's hard for me to really explain this, but when you have the jokes coming in so fast that you don't really have a chance to really savor a joke before the next one is lined up, and the laugh track also makes it hard to follow it. Like, no one in real life cracks a joke every 9 seconds. Honestly, nowadays, if I met someone like that, I'd probably end up pulling them into the ground for how annoying they are. It even sucks when there's potential of there being some more heartwarming scenes or character development.
Want some cake? Oh, heck yeah! You know, I'm an only child, so never got a cake from a sibling before. Sister cake, let's go!
Hey, there's a spark of character development.
I, got some for your friends, too. Oh, you mean my boys? They can't chant my name and eat cake at the same time. Trust me, they've tried.
And there it goes.
What a load of bullshit!
Maybe it's because this is live action, but you don't need to include a joke every interaction with a character. And sometimes you just gotta let your characters and the audience breathe. And like I said, making the joke predictable kills the joke. If I'm expecting something to happen, then I can't be surprised by it. Take this for example.
We're all going to have half a life when Jorgen von Strangle finds out about this.
What's he gonna do? Tear apart reality with his bare hands and say, "We puny fairies have some splaining to do."
That is precisely what I'm going to do! Timmy Turner! You and your puny theories have some splaining to do!
Look, if we break down comedy and look towards psychology, and yes, I'm bringing up psychology for this mess of a show, surprise is actually the #1 element that causes people to laugh. Now, imagine I'm funny. Yes, I know, but if you have a decent setup of a joke, you don't want to deliver the punchline before the joke even lands, because you've effectively done the joke already, and then you repeat the punchline. You kill any tension, you eradicate any surprise with a joke, and you repeat yourself. That is a recipe for a disaster of comedy.
I didn't know Roy was hiding on the roof.
Well, he did, and it was hysterical.
And by the by, telling me that something is funny can retroactively ruin a joke because you're now telling me how I should feel about it.
That's funny, Arthur. That's the kind of humor we do on this show.
And sure, I'm probably not the demographic for the show. It's probably for little kids or the tweens who watch a dime a dozen live-action Disney shows that clog up our internet space and corrupt the youth of our America into thinking that they're quirky and funny. Newsflash, you're not. But I never found that to be proper criticism, that just because you're not a part of a demographic, that doesn't mean you can't raise issues with a product. And I find that even more so a problem with the product in question is tied to beloved franchises that a lot of people grew up with. If you weren't going to appeal to the people who were originally a fan of the show, then why are you using elements from the show? Why are you bringing back characters? There's obviously a pull to bring back the older viewers of the original show because not only did the show go out of its way to use a lot of the older characters, it brought back a lot of voice actors. Hell, apparently they brought back Crocker.
I'll show them. Someday I'll get out of here.
I can hear your voiceover, and no you won't.
God, that animation is horrible. Oh, and apparently Vicky is in love with Crocker? Wait, what?
Now I'll have some peace and quiet until Crocker gets here and tells me his secret plan.
Why should I tell you my secret plan when I can sing it for you?
Crocker! Hug me!
Well, that's depressing as all sin. It's even creepy when you think about it, because Crocker should be in his late 60s by now. But still, people who like the show will probably have some issues with this because they did really enjoy the show when they were younger. It honestly reminds me of people getting on the case of New Devil May Cry, especially with Dante. Even if the show's creator is a nutbar who's been caught plagiarizing and may or may not have been doing some questionable stuff with money he got from fans to fuel some sort of cult-like television network. I don't know, I stopped paying attention to Butch Hartman a while ago when he started tracing other people's works. Now, I could probably go through the entire first episode and point out some of the stuff that makes no sense, even for a comedy show. It's amazing how the ladder didn't even shake when the girl crashed into it, or how brittle are your bones that you broke your leg when you're on the second step of a ladder and you landed on top of your arms. And even if Roy had a broken leg, how the heck did you get on the roof? I can easily put on cynical asshole mode. That's something that a lot of critics like to do, especially for this kind of material, but what has my ire is drawn somewhere else in the moment, and I actually respect your guys' time on this earth. And I respect my editor's time on this earth because he's probably screaming right now because I had to subject him to this mess of a first episode too. So I figured I'd just talk about the first episode and why it just doesn't work for me, and how its comedy just sucks. So yeah, it's not a good show. This was not a good first impression, and frankly, I'm glad I didn't have to pull what happened with High Guardian Spice, so I don't have to make a huge video talking about this mess of a series. Like I said, $250 per episode, or maybe, I don't know, 10,000 likes on this video, and I'll do more episodes on this. And I just realized I didn't really talk about the plot of the episode. I mean, it's a sitcom that doesn't understand comedy. And I only got paid $250. That ain't enough to fill my booze cabinet with the good stuff. Anyway, I'm MangaKamen, and I'm enjoying my booze. Bye-bye.